First test of the atomic bomb at an experimental station in New Mexico, 16th July. The explosion of the one bomb was photographed by 3 cameras from a distance of 6 miles.
Ist die erste fotografische Aufnahme einer Atombombenexplosion. Gefilmt bei dem ersten Experiment am 16. Juli 1945 in der Wüste von Neumexiko aus einer Entfernung von 10 Kilometern. Die Versuchsanstalt in Oak Ridge in einer geheimen Stadt. 2 Jahre lang arbeiteten hier Wissenschaftler und Techniker in strengster Abgeschiedenheit an der Fertigstellung des gewaltigsten Zerstörungsmittels, das die Welt je gekannt hat. Von der Außenwelt völlig abgeschnitten hatten sie ihr eigenes Postamt, ihre eigenen Straßen und Läden, ihre eigene Zeitung, die ihnen auch den Erfolg ihrer Arbeit meldete. In der Universität von Kalifornien vollendete Nobelpreisträger Professor Ernst Lawrence die Arbeit an der Atombombe mit Hilfe des Atomzyklotrons. $500 Millionen wurden für die Vorarbeiten aufgewandt, bis dieser erste Versuch mit den entfesselten Naturgewalten ausgeführt werden konnte. Die Wirkung war ungeheuer, nur vergleichbar mit einem Erdbeben oder einem vulkanischen Ausbruch. Die Beobachter befanden sich durch Bunker geschützt in einer Entfernung von 10 Kilometern. Trotzdem wurden eine Anzahl von ihnen durch den Luftdruck zu Boden geschleudert und betäubt. Glühende Hitze breitete sich aus. Schwarze Rauchschwaden stiegen 10 Kilometer hoch. Ein 11 Meter hoher Eisenturm, auf der rechten Seite der Leinwand zu sehen, zerfiel in Staub. Das ist das neue Zerstörungsmittel, das kurz vor Kriegsschluss die japanischen Städte Hiroshima und Nagasaki vom Erdboden vertilgt hat. Die furchtbarste Waffe in der Geschichte der Menschheit. Die Alliierten, die das Geheimnis der Atombombe hüten, sind entschlossen, dass diese ungeheure Erfindung in Zukunft nur als Abschreckungsmittel gegen Krieg und Kriegsmacher dienen soll. Die geglückte Atomzersplitterung mit ihrer unübersehbaren Fülle von Anwendungsmöglichkeiten leitet eine neue Epoche der Welt ein. Es soll eine Epoche der Verbesserung und Bereicherung des menschlichen Lebens werden.
First tryout of this new cosmic force was held on the New Mexico desert, only 20 days before it devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki in its first combat tests. It is night. Army cameras 6 miles away record the historic explosion. This is the end result of years spent on research and production of feverish scientific labors to harness atomic power ahead of the enemy. Luminous smoke rises 8 miles in the air. From another angle, still 6 miles away, another picture of the atomic eruption. The energy that generates the heat of the sun and operates the solar system comes under the will of humankind. The blast changes the atomic structure of everything it hits. Stone and steel are turned into gas. A third view of the same explosion. This incredible energy opens limitless horizons. President Truman speaks on this new force.
The atomic bomb is too dangerous to be loose in a lawless world. That is why Great Britain, Canada, and the United States, who have the secret of its production, do not intend to reveal the secret until means have been found to control the bomb so as to protect ourselves and the rest of the world from the danger of total destruction. I shall ask Congress to cooperate to the end that its production and use be controlled, and that its power be made an overwhelming influence toward world peace. We must constitute ourselves trustees of this new force, to prevent its misuse, and to turn it into the channels of service to mankind. It is an awful responsibility which has come to us. We thank God that it has come to us, instead of to our enemies, and we pray that he may guide us to use it in his ways and for his purposes.
Secret of the war comes into the open. From hidden factories over the nation, under heavy Army protection, the first atomic bomb was assembled. On the New Mexico desert, Allied scientists unleashed its stupendous power. Army cameras 6 miles away recorded the historic moment in the black of night. Of $2 billion spent on research and production, of years of feverish labor to harness atomic power ahead of the enemy. The energy that generates the heat of the sun and operates the solar system comes under the will of humankind. Luminous smoke rises 8 miles in the air. From another angle, with the camera aimed above and to the right of the bomb, the same explosion is seen again. Atomic bomb's usefulness was made only 20 days before the Jap base of Hiroshima was blasted from the earth. 2 bombs, the second on Nagasaki, and Japan sued for peace. The blast changes the atomic structure of all substances it contacts. Stone and steel are turned into gas. From 6 miles distance, another picture of the same explosion. In war, atomic power can level an entire nation in a few days. In peace, this incredible energy opens limitless horizons.
The atomic bomb. Its destination was Hiroshima.
A city in ruins with 1 bomb. This was the first test of the atomic bomb in New Mexico.
Nagasaki destroyed a few days later with a second atomic bomb, so much more powerful that the first one was already obsolete.
On August 14th, 1945, the Pacific War was over.
At 05:30 on the morning of July 16, 1945, the pre-dawn stillness of the New Mexico desert was shattered by the most momentous man-made explosion of all time. This was the fiery birth of the atomic bomb, culmination of centuries of step-by-step advance in the scientific quest, achievement of intense international effort by the Democratic Allies, product of unremitting research and toil since 1939, this instant of fury and flame and of violence beyond conception sounded the end of an age and heralded a new era in the destiny of mankind, a new relationship of man to his universe. Only a few carefully selected technical and military observers witnessed this test of new power that rocked the countryside at Alamogordo. The dramatic experiment took place just 6 days after provision of sufficient material for the first bomb. Development and construction of the bomb was the most closely guarded secret in scientific history. Solemn acknowledgement of success by 2 leading scientists foreshadowed the gravity of events to come. A world steeped in war did not know that a fearsome day was drawing near. When Dr. J.R. Oppenheimer arrived in March 1942 to take charge, he began to surround himself with a galaxy of outstanding scientific stars. The roster included many of the recognized leaders in modern-day physics and technical specialists from all parts of the world not then under enemy control. Sir James Chadwick headed an array of top British physicists at Los Alamos, and this group made invaluable contributions to technique and design. Professor J.D. Cockcroft, first to split the lithium atom in 1932, was another British consultant who gave vast help. Niels Bohr, one of the modern giants in physical science, made himself available after his escape from Denmark via Sweden. From Los Alamos came the bomb design and treatment of many theoretical problems. Measurements of the nuclear constants were refined and extended. Methods for purifying materials to be used were developed. Finally, in July 1945, a practical bomb was completed. This, briefly, is the history of the development of the atomic bomb. It was the harvest of science from many centuries, harnessed to the concentrated efforts of the greatest gathering of scientific brains ever assembled in one group with a single objective. When these men on July 16, 1945, exploded the first bomb in the Trinity Test at Alamogordo, they were not releasing upon an unsuspecting world a weapon of unknown potentialities. The power of the bomb had been predicted within close limits by careful calculations, and while the explosion definitely was greater than the average expectation, it did remain within the calculated limits. Military weapons dependent upon nuclear energy were now and henceforth an inescapable reality. Energy released by explosion of one atomic bomb of the type used at Nagasaki is roughly equivalent to that generated by exploding 20,000 tons of TNT. 20,000 tons. 40 million pounds of TNT would fill 2 good-sized cargo ships. Yet, all this energy was contained in one bomb. Nor is this all. In the early stages, the explosion reaches a temperature unmatched except inside the stars. The light radiated from its surface can produce burns well beyond the dangerous range of blast alone. During the burst, there are radiations traveling at tremendous speeds and invisible to the eye that reach even those protected by tile and concrete walls or metal shields. These are gamma rays and neutrons that penetrate and kill with insidious efficiency. Danger persists after the blast has died away. Lethal materials, fission products.
Muerto Valley, literally the Valley of the Acres of Death, near Alamogordo, New Mexico. Here, in 5 months, in July 1945, the first test is scheduled for an atom bomb. One of the first pieces of equipment to arrive is a massive steel safe weighing 150 tons and named Jumbo. A naive plan calls for the atom bomb to be exploded inside this safe, so that in case of a misfire, a partial dud, the precious supply of plutonium won't be scattered over the desert, but saved to be used again. Jumbo is insurance for $1 billion worth of plutonium. The test site is made ready. Oak Ridge and Hanford are producing uranium and plutonium. But even now, an atomic bomb is still a bit of theory that may yet prove false. The atom bomb is to Jornada del Muerto Valley. Ground zero for the test is dominated by a 100-foot tower called Gimmick. In a canvas tent at its base, scientists assemble the first atom bomb. Oppenheimer supervises the final preparations, aware that 3 years of intensive effort and $2 billion hang on the balance. The nightmare haunts them all, and when they have a pool to calculate the power of this bomb, scientists vie for the lowest possible figure. A short poem expresses their doubts. From this crude lab that spawned the dud, their next to Truman's axe uncurled, lo, the embattled savant stood, and fired the flop heard round the world. Press releases are prepared. If the bomb works, the public will be told that an ammunition dump accidentally exploded. Should the bomb go off with unexpected force, killing the key men at the test site, the world will learn only that a freak fire at Oppenheimer's ranch took the lives of America's top physicists. The Army dispatches buses and trucks to the town of Carrizoso, 30 miles from the test site, to stand by in case the population of 1,500 must be evacuated. Airports within 100 miles are told without explanation that all air traffic is banned from the area. Says a busy switchboard operator, something big is sure gonna happen. On July 15th, all non-essential personnel are ordered out of the test area. 150 selected officers and civilian scientists will be allowed to witness the payoff to their work. Some are sent to an observation post called Campagna Hill, 20 miles from ground zero. At the last moment, Jumbo, the huge steel safe, has been abandoned. Scientists suddenly realize that a successful explosion would hurl 150 tons of steel across the countryside like so much shrapnel. Instead, Jumbo is set up 2,000 yards from ground zero. The central control point is 5.5 miles from the tower. Lines connect it to reinforced observation posts in the inner perimeter. Everything is in place at 0 minus 12 hours. On this day, President Truman arrives in Berlin for the Potsdam Conference, a meeting with Stalin and Churchill. At Alamogordo, a flare lights the night sky, signal that the countdown has started. An automatic timing device now controls the test.
40, 39, 38, 37.
To the machine is entrusted the future of man.
34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20.
At 29 minutes and 50 seconds past 5 a.m. on July 16, 1945, the last flare is fired. 0 minus 10 seconds.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
By the genius of man, a new age is born, in the roar of thunder and the fire of the sun. In this instant, Robert Oppenheimer recalls a passage from a sacred book of the Hindus. I am become death, the shatterer of worlds. On the first day of the atomic age, a handful of men survey the fringes of the test site. For a brusque, demanding general and a gentle, determined scientist, this is a day of triumph. And at Los Alamos, a night of celebration. For Enrico Fermi and Edward Teller, a 6-year struggle has ended. For Ernest Lawrence and hundreds of others, a mood of jubilance tempered by a single question: what have we wrought? Truman received news.
The Trinity Test had been executed in New Mexico. The people from Trinity had arrived in the Marianas, and they had with them at that particular time colored photographs of the Trinity explosion. So we got the gang together, and we showed them. We didn't use the word atomic bomb. We did not use that, but we said, okay, now this is the bomb. This is what will happen when we make our flight tomorrow and release it. This is what we're going to see.
Here in the New Mexico desert in December 1942, the first major steps were taken to bring forth an atomic bomb, an awesome power unknown to previous civilizations. The story began back in 1939 when Albert Einstein wrote a letter to U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt, warning him that Germany was engaging in research to split the atom and design an atomic bomb of their own. Roosevelt's response to Einstein was to authorize one of the largest and most secretive operations ever, the Manhattan Project. In an unprecedented effort, thousands of scientists and engineers throughout the country were enlisted to create an atomic bomb. They worked on various pieces of the project all across the United States without any idea what the net result would be. But physicist Robert Oppenheimer knew. He had assembled the world's most brilliant physicists to put the pieces together. In August 1944, the puzzle for the detonation of the world's first atomic bomb was almost solved. Oppenheimer and his fellow scientists were anxious to put their theories to the test. After months of wiring and testing, the implosion device atop this 100-foot tower in the New Mexico desert was ready for the ultimate trial. Nicknamed Fat Man, it was almost 11 feet long and weighed more than 10,000 pounds. Many felt it would never work. Others were concerned that it would, and would end the world. On July 16, 1945, both sides were proven wrong as the world's first atomic bomb was exploded. The explosion sent a giant mushroom cloud 41,000 feet high in the New Mexico sky. The detonation of Fat Man in the summer of 1945 soon led to the end of the war and profoundly affected the world. Meanwhile, the Germans were busy working on their own ultimate weapon at a secret hideaway called Petamunda.
July 16, 1945, the Alamogordo Desert in New Mexico. To this place, on this date, have come General Leslie Groves and J. Robert Oppenheimer, a military man and a scientist, to witness the birth of an awesome new creation. Atop a steel tower stands history's first atomic bomb, and under strictest secrecy, 1,000 observers have gathered at Los Alamos for the final fateful countdown. Later, General Groves will speak of the climactic moment when mankind entered the atomic age.
We feel words inadequate to describe the effects of this bomb. It had to be witnessed to be realized, and it is the universal hope of all present that no American citizen will ever witness it on United States soil again. The light of many suns, the tremendous ball of fire, the shock and sound, and the formation of boiling clouds were all beyond human experience.
3 weeks later, on a Pacific isle, an American B-29 takes on a single atomic bomb. Its code name, Fat Man. The crew is well briefed about their target and their cargo. And on the morning of August 6th, history.
Alamogordo, New Mexico. At the bomb test site, the scientists are working under growing pressure. They are told there must be no further delays. The president must know the results of the test when he meets with Stalin. In mid-July, a car arrives at the test site. In the back seat is the plutonium for the bomb. It is 48 hours before H hour at ground zero. Sunday, July 15, 1945, Alamogordo, New Mexico. It is D-1 for the test of the world's first atomic device. In the bunkers, the scientists and the generals wait. No one is quite sure that the $2 billion device they call the gadget will work. The weather is checked. Preparations continue. The scientists make up a pool on the power of the device. Fermi suggests it may blow up New Mexico. As the waiting goes on, the tension increases.
Setting up 2, 1. Then all of a sudden, an incredible flash of light illuminated everything many, many times brighter than sunlight does in New Mexico at noon on a bright day. Many miles of the desert were completely blinding, and so I actually lost my vision for a few seconds. When it recovered, I turned back and I saw a huge ball of fire, bright yellow, rising through the atmosphere. And the whole atmosphere in the direction of the bomb was filled with strange violet light. It was one of the perfectly beautiful things I've ever seen. On an enormous scale, this cloud was peach and pink and purple. We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
After the atomic test, the scientists find the desert at ground zero turned to glass. The Earth lowered 9 feet. General Grove's message to the American leaders meeting at Potsdam with Stalin and Churchill is sent in code.